Shamans, we understand, cause we are the Tech Shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Tech Shamans. Yes, we are We are flying. We're flying into V formation, or the missing man formation.
We're flying low.
Flying low. That's about right.
Low.
Oh my God. So yeah. So we figured, you know what? The last week, Anthony's not here.
Yeah.
I think he's out putting up Christmas trees or something like that. I don't know. There's no telling what he does. He's a manly man. He's an outdoor dude. He got horses and all that kind of fun stuff. But anyway, so we're gonna typically we know we have a ton of different little articles for everybody to talk to, but we're kind of gonna dive into deep. We're gonna do a deep dive. I can't even talk this morning.
Yeah.
We're gonna deep dive on into the hacking world. And most people are like, oh well, it just really doesn't affect me, and I'm not so worried about that. You need to be worried, and I am not the Chicken Little guy. Oh, the sky is falling. But I got news for you. If you don't understand how encompassing this is, then you need to. Now it's time to wake up. So grab some coffee and some donuts. You might want a little bourbon in that coffee after we're done. But it's reality, and we're going to talk about. But before we get there, what'd you do this weekend, bro? I love hitting the what are you doing this weekend?
I went around collecting the gifts for the Angel program and getting them all out and distributed, so that way we can help those people that need to have a Christmas.
So have you distributed already?
Yeah, we've got all of the gifts that we had all picked up and everything and done, and I think we have a couple scragglers that came a little late, but hey,
I understand.
As long as they're out there,
as long as the kids are getting something, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly, just a little something.
Well, that's good. I mean, we kind of did the same thing. We adopted the Gaston family adopted a family from the WPBA list. I guess WPBA was struggling this year because of the COVID. Yeah. So there's several of us that just stepped up and said, "Well, we got it. We'll do it ourselves and take care of it." So we got to go Christmas shopping. I went Christmas shopping for little kids. It's been a long time. I mean, I got grandbabies and everything, but the grandbabies are up there, and I'm okay. So I don't know if this is in your house, but in my house. Oh, got something seriously going wrong with that camera. In my house, Mom's all about the tree, the decorations, the whole 9 yards. Me, I'm like, just give them money.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to wrap. If I could get away with not putting a tree up, I would.
Look, it all goes in a gift bag. Damn, it's wrapped.
Wrapped, exactly.
Wrapped.
Because so when I was younger, I would go I would save comics over the year, throughout the year, and that's my wrapping paper.
Oh yeah.
You put it in the middle, you come up, you tie a bow on it, there you go. It's wrapped.
You know what I would do when I was younger? I would draw a picture or color a sheet, from a coloring book.
Right.
I'd color a sheet and then I would wrap it with the comics.
See,
yeah.
See, we're. So anyway, all this, if it wasn't for Mama Tech, all this stuff in here decorating the studio would not, it wouldn't be, it'd be just a studio and we're at it. But anyway, so we got to go shopping for little kids, right? Because the family we have
they're the easy ones, believe it or not.
They are. Yeah. There's so much, dude, if I'd have had half the stuff we were looking at this weekend when I was growing up, I think I may have turned out a little bit better. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, So anyway, that's what we did. Oh, we went to Safety Town
Oh, okay.
and did the concourse
Yeah.
lights. That's really nice. Really nice. I think We Beam TV needs to be there next year.
Did they use mini LED for the little mini buildings?
No. So we're all
LED
like,
strips.
where are the little people at?
Yeah, right.
And then I, of course, me being politically incorrect, said, "Oh, they're all at North Pole working. This is their home away from home. Yeah.
This is their vacation
And of course,
spot.
and of course, Mama Tech said, you're going to go to hell for that. And I'm like, probably, but it is what it is. So I want to, if I can get it up here, right? So let's talk about, before we get into all this world right here, right? So the hacking that's been going on, and just keep this on a medium shop, Rob, because we're going to go back and forth way too much, and I don't want to make people at home sick. So the hacking that's going on now, and I know everybody's like, oh, well, it's the government, and it's, actually the state troopers, the Florida state troopers got hacked. Mm-hmm. Their criminal database got hacked.
Right.
So to me, people go, oh, it's not really going to affect me, and blah, blah, blah. Well, it is. Mm-hmm. It is going to affect them, right? I mean, this is allowing everybody's personal information.
You know what it is what people don't understand, especially lately. How I don't know if anybody you store passwords in your browser or anything, but like for instance, Google will notify you if your credentials have been found in a hacking campaign, a data breach, and what that means is, say for instance, any company out there, government, non-government, it doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Somebody who may not even have let any information out saying that they have been breached, okay? They may not even have said anything publicly. They might not even know it yet. But what happens is, servers are out there. Sometimes they're not, they don't have websites behind them and stuff like that.
Right.
But their databases are exposed to the internet.
Right.
When the hacking groups and stuff like that, they go out there, they just scour the internet for what they call like open ports and things like that, communications that they can communicate with a server. Once they do that, they'll spend a little time maybe brute forcing, trying to break open that database or guess the credentials. Once they can do that, they have that whole list of whatever you put in on a website or whatever that company collects about you.
Right.
So if you use this email address with this password, and a lot of people do this, is they use the same password a lot of times, and obviously the same email combination or username. What happens is once that information gets leaked, it gets compiled into a database that these hackers not so nice people go out there and they sell that information on the internet. And people will buy these list of databases of these names, usernames, and passwords, and where the website was that it came from. And they'll put that into a computer program, and they'll go out there and just try to, try these websites randomly to see if they can get something to click.
Right.
And once they get it to click, then they have information, and say, for instance, it's your bank account. They could open up a bank account at another institution, set up, small wire transfers between accounts and fund an account, or try to open up a checking account in your name.
Right.
And usually what they're trying to do is get that checking account open and then utilize it to bounce a bunch of checks fraudulently, get what they need during the 30-day window that they have to get the, deposits into the account, and really tarnish your name. And the problem is there's not just your credit bureaus that track you. There's a whole separate bureau that can, for instance, checks.
The check system.
The
correct.
checking system has their own set of information. You think you're safe, but now you find out that there's a whole different area tracking and keeping track of whether or not you write fraudulent checks or defraud banking institutions. How are you going to know? Believe it or not, when they get out there and start getting your information, it's a lot easier for them to open an account fraudulently with your information than it is for you to call in and try to get those accounts reclosed or fixed.
Yep.
It's a lot harder for you. And it's unfortunately, you don't know. Just because what you see in the news of the companies that are saying, hey, yes, we had a data breach, that doesn't mean every company is letting you know that they've had a data breach.
Right.
And some of them don't know. They really genuinely don't know, and they could still be having a data breach today.
So so I'm looking at this first story here we got. It's foreign attacks of the U.S. mobile users. So in the so 2018, 2019, AT&T,
Yes.
Sprint, T-Mobile, Cricket, whoever's out there, all those lists got compromised. Mm-hmm. So that means that all these hackers, basically, and I don't mean Angelina Jolie hacker.
No, I mean it could be anywhere from somebody sitting in their basement, a group of people that are in another country that are using it as a way to make money. It could be another foreign government.
And here's something else too: is don't take it for granted. These guys are sitting at home on their laptop in their mom's basements. There's guys that sit at Starbucks.
Yeah.
There's guys that sit at Dunkin' Donuts. Mm-hmm. They sit in the mall. They sit anywhere they can get free Wi-Fi. Those guys are hacking. I mean, and I'm not saying when you walk in and see everybody someone on a laptop that's what they're doing. But everybody thinks of a hacker as, oh, well, they're sitting in their basement. No. They literally sit on all the free Wi-Fi they can, run through a VPN that is jumping all over the planet to be able to get into servers and hacks. So, in 2018, 2019, U.S. mobile users were heavily hit. So that means that unless you've changed your phone number in the last 2 years, which who of us has our phone number, we don't ever want to change our number because everybody knows it. Well, I would put a 90% chance your phone number has been compromised.
Yeah.
And these guys have the ability to get in there and go, okay, well, and just for let you know, you can hack a cell phone. Mm-hmm. You can get in the back end. So everything that you do, every text you send, every picture you take, every email you read, every data point that you save on that phone
could be at some point compromised.
So like if you have Apple Pay right on your phone and you go to pay, then that right there, all your information can be just easily read. And now they have all your finance. More people have more financial here than they do anywhere. I mean, anywhere.
Well, in the premise of, like, for instance, Apple Pay and stuff, the card information that's stored on the phone is hardware encrypted by the physical phone.
Right.
That's why sometimes you get where the FBI and stuff, and they want access to a phone. For instance, the cloud information that's stored up in the cloud. Sometimes Apple and them can't. If they do it right, they can't get the decryption key because it's all hardware-based, stored inside the device itself.
Right.
So that's when you use the phone to go pay for something, that's automatically decrypted and encrypted between the two devices that are communicating back and forth to be able to give you that card information to your the vendor that you're trying to pay.
Right.
So
and the hackers are what they're looking for. Which was an article, one of these articles I read, is they're looking for the older systems.
Yes.
Because they're more vulnerable now.
Yeah.
Because those, all you guys, and you hear us joke, oh, Windows 98, Windows 2000, blah blah, XP, woo, XP was the strongest. But now, if you're still running computers on a database in your business, XP is the easiest one to hack.
Yes, and you can become liable,
right?
If you're still exposing that information to the internet and allowing it to run in your business.
Right.
I mean, there's just some things you just have to do. There's reasons why you have to upgrade your operating system, upgrade your security protocols, because just because you just don't want to pay for the new software. Yes, I know it's expensive and stuff, but you need to take precautions. If it's a software that does not need internet access to run, then by all means. But if you have to expose a computer that's running Windows XP for your CNC machine to a local internet, a local network, or the internet itself, just because you want to be able to send files to it and stuff, well, you're exposing yourself, and whatever information you have on that system, and the rest of your network to being taken over. And it's just that simple.
An entry point is an entry point. So, everybody, I was watching the other day, and the Roombas
Oh, yeah.
have now become an entry point for people to get into your databases.
Yes.
So if you're a large company that has automated systems, or like you said, a CNC machine, simple CNC, this is something that you're like, well, it just runs my CNC. Was it on the internet? Well, yeah. Well, is it connected to your network? Well, yeah. Well, guess what? You just gave those hackers the ability to get into your business back end.
Right.
Right? So the liability of you running an old software, so that tells me that if all these guys that are selling CNC and these big massive printers, or anything that's hardware controlled by a computer, need to be updating to the point where if it's being controlled by a computer, it needs to better run the latest
let's
and
put
greatest.
it this way, John. One of the biggest things, you can have all the greatest computers you want in your business, okay? And the first thing you do is, you upgrade all your computers, you got the latest and greatest, but the one thing you didn't upgrade in your office has been your printer. Okay? You had your printer. You had your printer for years. You paid $25,000 for it.
I'm never letting that thing go. It's
You bought it when you started the business 15 years ago.
Yep.
And it supports a network protocol, SMB 1.0. Well, Microsoft does not support that anymore. And this is basically where you scan to a folder on another computer. So say, for instance, you walk up to your printer, you stick a piece of paper in it, and you want it to scan to a folder on another computer. Well, the problem is Microsoft turned off in Windows 10, they've turned off SMB 1 because it's
security risk.
It's a security risk, yes. It's a great entry point for, say, for instance, somebody wants to encrypt all your data on your drives and hold you ransom. Ransomware can easily do that using that protocol. And in order to get those scan-to computer printers to work, you have to re-enable on Windows 10 computers the SMB1, or at least some portion of it to make it communicate.
Right.
Right there. Not everybody knows to lock down their printers properly. The printer has a web-based interface, and it's usually exposed to the internet. It has a port on it. And somebody does a port scan on your network, finds that port that's for that printer. You've never set it up properly. It still has the factory default admin login. They log into the network. Now they have access to your whole network shares, at least to the computers that are on your network that you scan to. And now they can now go ahead and send files to those individual computers and even set them to auto run or something, the next time the computer reboots. It starts encrypting all your files. Now what are you going to do?
Right.
That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. And usually your business will usually be hacked, usually on a Saturday morning or early Sunday morning.
Yeah.
After you all go home, they'll run their package, they'll log in, run their, dump their files and let it run, and starts encrypting across your network immediately.
Yeah, so that's how SolarWind. Everybody's heard this name.
More sophisticated.
SolarWind.
Yeah.
SolarWind. They are the leading encryptors, I guess.
Well, they are what MSPs, managed service providers, usually utilize to basically monitor people's networks, find out what's happening here, what's happening there on the network, make sure everything's working properly. They'll install what they call endpoints on individual devices inside the office's network, so they can monitor the computers, whether or not their hard drives are crashing. It's for IT companies to be able to say, hey, let's mitigate a problem before it happens and get it resolved.
Right.
And the problem is that whole security, making you feel good that somebody's keeping care of your network. Well, they utilize that back end. SolarWinds has their own software updater that updates the endpoints automatically, and their server itself was injected with bad code.
Right.
So their auto updater, once that software updated, that code that they injected into the software by SolarWinds was, because it was coming from SolarWinds server, which means that all the endpoints said, well, it must be okay if it's coming from SolarWinds.
Yeah, the big
guy says
the big
it's
guy
okay.
said this is good. Let's take it.
So once it was digitally signed by the server saying that this software update is a legitimate update, and that update goes in, and that bad code goes into SolarWinds endpoints, here you've just distributed, depending on the size of the business, 50, 60, 70, 100,000, versions of a malware or some kind of snooping software to be able to, watch what people are doing. You don't know what's going on in the background.
I'm going to ask Rob real quick while we're talking about this. I think it was like 500 companies.
It was 50s. It was a lot of companies had thousands and thousands of machines. Yes, have the sunburst variant of the malware that was installed,
including the Florida State Troopers.
Yes, but it was 50 big corporations were really affected hard and really being watched by these guys. So, of course, they're not going to release all the information and tell you who was being watched because, you may not, as a consumer, want to know that information.
Yeah, so, you might want to be.
And believe it or not, something like this happened. I've seen this happen before. I don't know if anybody, if you've been around for a while, Windows XP, Windows 7, and stuff like that, and you've utilized services, CCleaner. You've heard of CCleaner?
Yep.
Years ago, it was its software was taken. Somebody deconstructed it and injected malicious code into the software, and then resent to the the download servers at their I said Pertform or whatever the little pair company is, and for a while there, that software was putting in adware and malware into people's computers. A software that's supposed to help, keep your computer running a little better, check for registry errors and stuff like that. So this is not something, quite new. The method in which they distributed it is, but, this stuff happens all the time, And
I mean, what a smart way. I mean, I have to give it to them. So the only people that in the beginning that truly got hacked was SolarWinds. Yes. So SolarWinds got hacked. And then, or I keep saying this, or was it maliciously done from the inside? I still kind of wonder, was someone going, you know what? You take my red stapler, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to burn this place down. And instead of burning the place down, he burnt down the country because you remember that movie?
Fire me, will you?
Yeah, fire me, will you? I'll take my red stapler.
You go fire that coder, see what he does to you.
Exactly. So, and then, so what happens is when that update went out, all these companies got an update from the master computer, and now that opened up back doors for all these hackers just to come in. I mean, our naval base, I think it was, our nuclear weapons agency hit by massive hacking.
Yeah.
All from the SolarWinds side.
Now, the agency itself, but remember, too, a lot of our nuclear weapons are kept off the grid.
Just for this
reason. And then we're talking about systems that are, I think they run on like Windows 3.1 or something. I mean, that is I mean, they're all.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah.
It's sitting on the Whopper. Remember, that's a great movie.
Oh God.
But I mean, last night it was proportions of the U.S. in grave danger. Cyber expert Morgan Wright reveals frightening extent to the latest cyber attack. Now, there's a video on this one page that we will go. We're not going to play the video, but if you guys want to go watch it, you can go to Gateway Pundit and then take a look at it there. And here's the thing: this happened on the cybersecurity watch, the guy that Trump fired.
Yeah.
This was all on his watch.
Well, you know what? Even Microsoft had some intrusion also.
Oh yeah.
So now, okay, put it this way:
because of SolarWinds.
Because of SolarWinds. Now, think of it this way, okay, John. We're all told that we're supposed to update our systems because of security reasons.
Right. Exactly.
Correct? All right. Large corporations, government agencies, state programs, they can't. The infrastructure is just too massive for them to either rewrite everything and get everything built. So they run on a lot of legacy systems.
Right.
There's a lot of systems out there that still run on XP. When a system becomes no longer able for the general public to be utilized, say for instance Windows 7 stopped receiving updates, okay? That doesn't mean large corporations and government agencies can't continue to receive those updates and security features by paying Microsoft additional money to keep
it up
their
to
system
date.
running and
Right.
those legacy systems going. They'll pay for that service. But when the person that you're paying has also admitted to an intrusion,
Right.
now, I mean, come on. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yes, our infrastructure across our the United States itself is just a great big hot mess.
Right.
And there's no consistency across different states, as you kind of saw when everything happened with COVID, and for instance, everybody trying to jump onto the servers to file for unemployment, and the servers crashing, and all that technology problems that were coming about. This is just to let you know these are the legacy systems that are out there that are not kept up to date. They're not kept running properly. They just feel that it's working and just leave it be.
Right.
And gosh forbid that leaves something that's out there that people don't utilize a lot, like
Right.
our nuclear systems
Yep.
and stuff.
Right.
And those systems run on the slowest, most outdated stuff, while the people that are utilizing services a lot more, say the Department of Commerce or whatever, their system's being utilized a lot more, they'll get the updated stuff before they send any money down here to upgrade the technology, while the IT department's going there trying to, you got a guy who's 89 years old still programming your mainframe trying to keep it running, and he's the only guy left in the world that knows how to write on Unix or something.
Right, in that code.
So you got to wonder. Yeah, I think it's about time that we took this stuff seriously here in the U.S.
So, because I'm just trying to make sure my notes are right. So, here, follow me on this.
Are we going down a rabbit hole?
We're going down a rabbit hole. Here we go. Right? Conspiracy theory,
boy.
John. Right? So, I think Russia and China have been in cahoots since last year.
You forgot one.
Who?
North Korea.
North Korea.
Let's throw them in there.
Yeah, let's
'cause
throw
they
them
need
in.
to make.
They're
They
all
got to
buddies.
make money.
They're all buddies and pals, right? So they said, China, you release the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. That way, everybody is forced to be more computer reliant, ordering online, doing everything online. Can't leave the house, pay your bills online. If you weren't paying your bills online, you probably are now, right? And then what happens is, on top of all this, we got an election. Let's get everybody fired up, right? So now you got a pandemic, you got an election, and then all of a sudden, amazingly, we have this massive, massive attack, right? This has been a three-prong attack on the American people.
We always say things come in threes, but when that really happens in your life personally, we never
Right.
say it's a conspiracy theory, though.
No, at that point in
It just
time,
happens.
think about it. So you got Russia and China and North Korea.
Nah.
China releases, okay? Korea does all their crap to go, hey, look over here. It's like in what we call it, magician. We call that word misdirection. And then China comes, and then look at that. And then Russia comes in there and goes, hey, we're going to spank you. And they did. I mean, let me say so. But here's something funny. I guess on GeekWire, right? Microsoft unleashes the Death Star on SolarWinds hackers in extraordinary response to breach. So in other words, Microsoft said, okay, here, hold my beer. Let me show you how it's done. And then they fired back and just, they mustered up enough firepower. They're going through.
All they did is get all the coders over in India to go ahead and send it out.
But they did it.
They did it.
But they did it. I mean, the biggest response so far out of all this hacking has been Microsoft.
Yeah.
Said, all right, okay, look, we're going to fix this, especially for our machines.
Well, well, remember, Microsoft operating system runs on pretty much everything for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would just be, in their best interest to go ahead and push back in some form or fashion.
They wanted
or
to
at
show
least-
just how big they actually still are.
Yeah.
Which is all, I mean, and to me, that's awesome.
But then again, a lot of the stuff's not tested properly, so there's probably a backdoor to whatever they just pushed out. So
Probably.
it's probably full of bugs, and they'll probably get an update. Next thing you know, the
Probably.
whole pushback will crash. So,
So, so this right here, let me look at that. SolarWinds supply attack changes the size and speed and scope of action. Microsoft reminds the world that it can still muster firepower. 4 steps for over 4 days. Microsoft flex muscle to legal team and control the Windows operating system, merely obliterate the actions of some of the most sophisticated offensive hackers out there.
yes, and I think the way Microsoft does handle their updates and the way they, believe it or not, today more than ever, Microsoft has full control of the operating system and what it can and cannot do. And at any given time, they can push code to everybody and change a setting. One of them was recently was everybody was complaining that the Microsoft apps, say for instance you downloaded Microsoft and installed their Office program into your
Right.
computer, and you deleted the little app window that was for Office 365 and the advertisement from your computer because you already owned it and you've already installed it. And a lot of times those apps would cause problems when they were installed.
Right.
Microsoft was constantly sending them back because they were using it as a way to gain people to sign up for Office 365.
Right.
And then they were pushing the advertisements, and then a lot of people, got out there, cried foul, and then Microsoft pulled it and stopped doing it.
Right.
But, that just goes to show you that they have complete control of the operating system. So once they find what process and what's being manipulated in their operating system to be able to allow communication, for instance, with SolarWinds or whatever endpoints, causing the issues, they can literally just turn off that communication piece and boom, that just shuts down.
Say, see ya.
Yeah, it just shuts down, and they have to go back and write the code and figure out what Microsoft did. Now, a lot of times, these sophisticated attacks, they're called, usually end up happening. They have white hat conferences, white hat, black hat, and but they'll have a white hat conference where guys will sit here and provide proof of concept of how they could hack into Microsoft, hack into Apple or whatever, and they'll usually release that information to the end company beforehand and get a payout, so that way that company can fix their breach, their possible data breach before something really happens. Once these guys who then present their information to like a white hat conference and say, I did this, and this is what the outcome was, I notified them, I followed all procedures. Once that information is given and they win their rewards and stuff, that
Right.
stuff then goes public. Okay? See, because now it's proof of concept, it's done. Now it goes public, and that code and everything is shared, and that's when it gets packaged up. Mm-hmm. These guys say, oh, that's a great idea. I could add that to my malicious, malware that, goes out and worms a local network for, information and allows me to snoop on, this vendor or that vendor or whatever it's going to be that they want to do. They can take that piece of code, add it to their software, they'll package it up, they'll sell it on, the dark, if you want to call it the dark web, but
Dark web.
yeah, other Tor networks, and they'll sell it out there to people who want to buy it to cause malicious harm to other people. They'll package it up, they just wrote the software. They just wrote software that can do this. They're not doing it. So it's okay in their eyes to go ahead and make money off the software because they're
Right.
just a programmer.
Yep.
And the people that are usually causing the problems are not sophisticated at all. They just purchased a sophisticated, software package from somebody and, go out there and run, just click and run and see what happens. Upload it to a virtual server they created in the cloud and hope somebody comes to the website and, clicks on something wrong and installs the package, and it just keeps spreading through the internet.
Yep.
And they get what they get.
There you go.
So
See?
it could be that simple.
So, okay, so what, now that we've given you all the crap that's gone on, what is the best way to kind of, if you're nervous, because you should be nervous about this. Everybody should be nervous about this. Everybody.
I know it's difficult, but keeping your passwords, changing it regularly. If you have, a password generator, or say, for instance, a software.
What about one of those little thumb drive sticks?
Well, for encrypting your data?
No. I mean that keeps all your
You can do something like that.
That carries all your passwords.
Yeah,
you plug it in, and then it works.
Yeah, you can do something like that. But remember, it's not that you're entering the password that's causing the problem. It's where you're entering the password and who's storing that password for you and that information. Once they say that, John at whatever-it-is.com signs in with these credentials, as long as he signs in with these credentials, he's correct. The server stores that information.
Okay.
And that server gets hijacked, then that password that you have on that thumb drive is essentially now, hacked. It's been found in a data breach. That data breach, once it gets to the other Tor networks, the dark web, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Silk Road, yeah.
Silk Road.
Once that information gets out there, their monitoring services find it and then notify you. The best thing to do is keep changing your stuff. Enable two-factor authentication, even though it can be bypassed. Hopefully it's not, a website that, is a company that, they really want to get into to bypass it. They have to really want to do it. But make sure you have two-factor authentication turned on. Make sure that you have a recovery email for any of your service. So if you sign in with your email address and stuff, and you have your recovery email as the same email you send it to, have a secondary backup in case something happens. You can't lose your Facebook business page. Do you have one account that controls it? If your
multiple.
If your Facebook account gets hijacked, you lose access to your business page. Now you have to start all over again. If you add additional users to your business page and let one of them, even another Facebook account that you open up, become a super admin, or your spouse or somebody,
right,
then you don't have to worry about if your account gets hijacked. Then you just use your spouse and let them, give you access to your new account as a super admin, so you don't lose all that information. Same thing with Google. You lose your Gmail account, and the same thing for Microsoft. That's a big one. Somebody buys a new computer, the first thing it asks you is, what's your email address? People put in their Gmail address or their Yahoo email address as their sign-in during the very first beginning of setting up Windows. If you do that, you are not really telling them your email address. You are creating a Microsoft account with that email address.
Yeah.
So when you say your recovery email address is the john@gmail.com and you use that to create the Microsoft account, Microsoft, for some odd reason, thinks that it's now the recovery email, sends it to the same Microsoft account. So when you're trying to unlock, say for instance you lost your password, somebody hijacked your Microsoft account and changed your password, you can't get into your computer, you hit password reset, what happens? It never goes to your Gmail, John. It ends up going to the Microsoft account
one,
that you created.
Right. Yep.
So now you have to have another email somewhere, and make sure you add that into your Microsoft account, so that way you have a real recovery email in case you get locked out. Or better yet, when you're setting up your computer, don't connect it to the internet at the beginning.
That's what I did.
Do not connect your computer to the internet.
Nope.
If you don't, it'll ask you, do you want to connect to a network? Which one do you want to connect to? Say, I don't have internet. And the minute you say, I don't have internet, it'll say, hey, are you sure? You'll have a limited experience. Say, yes, I want the limited experience. And then Microsoft, even with Windows 10 Home, will go ahead and allow you to sign into your computer with a local Microsoft account that's not tied to Microsoft servers or anybody else's servers.
Right.
Now you have a regular username and a regular password that you are always accustomed to, and in case your account gets hijacked online, you will not be hijacked locally on your computer. You can still continue to do what you need to do.
See, makes so much more sense.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Unfortunately, they did make it very difficult to bypass those.
Yeah, they scare you not to do it.
Well, they make it very, believe it or not, they made all the icons small on purpose because they don't want you to not sign up with a Microsoft account. They want you to have a Microsoft account. So
Okay, and let's another. So firewalls are a good thing in your business, right?
yes, make sure you have a firewall. Turn off. If you have a computer, never turn on remote desktop for your servers or your computers in your office. That is one of the, even though it's the easiest way to get into your computer from another location or home, and you want to even say, for instance, you want to get into your server's in another room, and you want to use remote desktop to just get on your laptop and remote into that server so you can do some work on it. The minute, even if you don't take that server and expose it to the internet by, say, for instance, automatically port forwarding your network, your WAN to that server or anything like that, just having it there with RDP turned on, they will be able to scan your IP, find open ports, and literally, once they find that RDP port open on that server, they will pound it and pound it and pound it for however long they can until they get in. And once they get in, that's the end of it.
They've got everything.
They've got all they need. They drop their payload right on that server, and boom, they want to start encrypting everything. That's the end of it.
Okay.
Don't do it.
So VPNs.
Okay.
So I a lot of people they'll message me and go, hey, look, I signed up for a VPN like you guys said to do, and I guess I'm golden. I'm like, no. There's things you have to do in your VPN. You don't just buy it and go, okay, I'm using it.
Right.
It's not no. You might as well not have it. Right. So so is there a couple pieces of advice to say, okay, when you get your VPN, this is what we need to do?
Well, you make sure that when you have the VPN service, watch where it's deciding to route your information. VPNs are to go ahead and hide your IP address that you're working from, and hide it from the internet, so that way anybody out there can't see what internet information where you're located and what you're trying to do.
Right.
A lot of times people use it to bypass, their ISPs so they can watch movies from other countries, things like that. But you got to understand that VPN service will connect to a server at a different location. And it could be a location all over the world, doesn't matter where it is. So you could be here in Florida, turn on your VPN, and it's sending all your internet traffic to a server in Russia or another country, and outputting that information from there as if you were in Russia doing whatever you need to do on the internet.
Right.
Problem is that server that you just connected to a legitimate server? Where the VPN service hijacked and their services stored somewhere else? So everything, your banking, whatever you're doing, is now flowing through a server out of this country.
Right.
At least try to choose a server if your VPN allows it. Choose a server by continent, for instance, North American continent. Okay. So that would choose a server anywhere.
Canada, eh?
Yeah, Canada.
Because they're friendly,
the United
eh?
States. But at least you have something you can go after in case of a data breach or something happens to you or somebody stealing your information. At least you feel you'll have a little bit more control over where your data's being sent to than versus if it's sending your VPN's connecting to something in China or another country that is known for its hacking attempts.
Okay, so if you choose your country.
Choose your country.
And then what? Anything else in there that they need to really look at?
Your closest, obviously, if on a VPN, make sure you have your closest server, so that way it's speed. The closer the server, the faster your internet will be.
Okay.
And then just make sure that you have all the security settings. If it allows different encryption, highest encryption. If if it has different encryption levels, make sure you have the highest encryption turned on and things like that. And then even with your VPN service, make sure you are updating your password. Change your password regularly. Make sure that that nobody has access to it. You know what I mean? You don't want to somebody to be logging in while you're logged in somewhere and watching your internet traffic.
See, there you go.
You got to be careful.
You got to be careful now. So there you go. We've told you about all the dangers and all the stuff that can happen. And it's actually, my wife and I went through this 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We got completely hacked, and they got all of our social security numbers and whole 9 yards. And I was buying houses all over the country in cars. I did not know.
Damn it.
So, and I didn't live in them. Hell, half of them, some of them, I said, I'd be glad to, I should just drive them and go, I'm here. It's mine. Get out, because I'm going to just keep it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you doing all the legwork. You're awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
this design.
but it took us forever to finally get that cleared up.
Yeah.
And if you do have, if you're someone that's suffering from all this crap, and you need help, we've got 2 people that we deal with on a weekly basis that can help you get this all fixed. Alpha Recovery, and then the other guy's a credit doctor down in St. Pete. So we have a couple guys, phenomenal. I mean, they didn't start this like last year and go, oh, this is something I want to do. They've both been in it forever.
Right.
And they know the changes. I didn't realize, most people think there's 3 different credit bureaus. There's actually almost 200.
Yeah.
I think the number is 200, almost 200 different credit bureaus that you have to deal with. We just hear about the big 3. That's what we deal with. But there are so many more out there.
And Experian had that large data breach.
Oh yeah. Well, so did TransUnion.
Yeah, and they have your information out there. Okay, it's just a matter of time. And the best thing you can do is make sure, like for instance, your recovery email is set up for your logins and stuff.
Right.
Make sure 2-factor authentication is turned on. You need to be notified as fast as possible when something happens. It's not it's not if it's going to happen. It's never going to happen to you. No, it's not that. You need to know exactly when it happens. And just because, for instance, you get an email from one of your accounts and say, hey, your information changed on our website. Just because that happens, that doesn't mean go on to the email and click on it and start logging in. That could be a phishing email. But now, with the advent of everything going on today, you still need to follow up and make sure that you double check. So, for instance, if you see your bank say, hey, something changed, then go to your bank's website and check it there and verify it. Double check your account information and all your credentials. Make sure that there's not a secret email address set up. Make sure there's not a Denver phone number set up. Make sure there's not anything else in there that looks odd to you.
Right.
Because this could be the start of something. And if you can stop it in its tracks there and then,
oh yeah,
what's going to happen is, as long as the perpetrators don't get any indication that information that they have is correct, they'll throw it away. They don't want to be bothered with it because they tried, it didn't work. If they try and it didn't work and they don't have any indication, they didn't get sent a letter saying, hey,
right. Oh, by the way,
you failed to get this or whatever, then they'll go ahead and just leave it alone.
Right.
But the minute they get some kind of letter indicating that something happened and went through, it's going to continue to be pounded and used against you.
And there's always companies out there that will, I don't think Rob can get this, but identityprotectionreview.com, top 10, right, for identity protection, right, which is Identity Guard, which is through Aura, I know who they are, Identity Defense, MyFICO, but I've never heard of them, LifeLock. Here's something that's kind of funny. When you see the credit bureaus charging you extra to protect your ID.
Yeah.
That's their job. Why
Exactly.
are they charging you for that crap?
Experian and TransUnion, they're both offering free service. You can go to up till 2024 right now with Experian. Okay, you go to their website. Maybe we'll put the link. I'll find it. And
We'll
send
put
to
it.
you.
Yeah, we'll have Rob
But
update
you
it.
can go ahead and search for the data breach. All they need is your 6 digits of your social, and they'll need your last name.
Right.
If they find you in a data breach, you automatically qualify for 1 year of their service. And if you want, you also qualify automatically for 7 years of protection.
Right.
Which means that they will go ahead and anytime somebody tries to open an account in your name or anything that requires approval through your credit score or any kind of credit information, they need to, before they can go any further and check your credit, they have to call you immediately. And if they don't get the authorization from you and you don't tell them the secret code, then it stops that person in their tracks from going any further. And you get 7 years right now.
That's
for
good.
Free. 7 years.
And make sure that whoever you do use does the dark web monitoring as well.
Yes, yes.
That's a big deal. Like, so I'm looking at some of these right now. Here's LifeLock, who we've all seen the commercials. They do dark web, but they also do sex offender registry reports. Why? Why would you? I wouldn't care about anything but the dark web side of it.
Yeah.
But here's the sad thing is most of these only do 3 bureaus, including Equifax or Experian. So there's a couple down here that I'm not even going to mention because I think they're junk. So to me, the top 5 would be ID Shield, which I know who they are. Then the Experian, LifeLock, MyFICO, Identity Defense. But Identity Guard, number 1, I mean, top choice 2020, A+ rating, Better Business Bureau rating, which really doesn't mean anything. 1 million identity theft, 3 bureau credit monitoring, dark web, and credit reports and source.
Nice.
That's pretty dang good. So that's something that, if you need, I would definitely. If you're worried about it, which you should be, I think we have LifeLock at a free thing, and I think it's about up. But I have a hard time. Like, I know Experian is free if you got breached. If not, you got to pay.
Yeah.
And the boost thing is a joke. So, but
the dark web monitoring.
that's huge.
That's because that's where your information is being bought and sold. And believe it or not, the database of 1 million people. I mean, they don't go for a lot. These guys are just banking. They're selling the information just like you sell shoes.
Right. 30, 40 bucks here, 500 bucks there,
it's
20 bucks there.
Yeah, and all they're doing is, they'll sell it. The perpetrator will go out there. They'll get a stolen credit card. They'll buy what they need to buy. They'll get that whole list of names. They'll try to credit card companies. They'll try to open up bank accounts, see what they can get. There's virtual phone numbers they can create. They can create a free email account. Boom, they just tie this to this 5 list of names, and bam, whatever goes through. Whatever doesn't.
Yeah, it's like throwing spaghetti against the wall. Whatever sticks works. Hey, I did good.
And then they run away from it, and then the next guy has your information, and then the next guy has your information. So it's not like it's just one person doing it to you. It's like the whole world.
Yeah.
Well,
that's just it. Your good credit is a commodity on the dark market.
Yeah.
Bottom line. I mean, and the better your credit, the more you're worth.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. You can have mine all you want. Mine's protected. I've got 3. I think we're down to 3 different systems.
Yeah.
Because
and if you're a business that keeps people's information, and I'm talking Social Security numbers on file, credit card phone numbers, passwords or anything like that on file, and you keep it on file for your client, or keep it for your information and for your business, you're responsible for that person's information.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife is a mortgage professional. Their back end is so tight. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's why a lot of them.
I can't see,
A lot of the mortgage brokers and stuff went to third-party companies to go ahead
Yep.
and handle their stuff because, now they can just sign into a web portal and do everything cloud-based because everything across the internet on that internet browser is encrypted and stuff like that. But they have to offload that responsibility to somebody a lot bigger who's got a lot more money that can
Right.
handle it. Well, these smaller title companies and real estate companies couldn't be able to operate.
Nope.
It happens all too often. I've seen people go to closing and somebody monitors an email account and hijacks the email account. And then next thing you know, all the wire transfers are
to the wrong place.
To the wrong place.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of changing the routing and banking information. You were already told to be on the lookout for the email. Now they tell you that you need to call the title company, verify the information against what was
Yep.
sent to you, so that way they know it's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And and now the COVID thing.
Yeah, it makes things even worse because now, hey, you can just send what are they called?
I don't know.
What are those?
Don't you hate that?
A notary.
A notary.
All they have to do. You want to close the loan or anything? They send a notary to your house. You're refinancing your mortgage. Here's all your banking information. It was handled all through a portal. We'll send a notary to your house. You sign off on this. Hands it back to the notary. The notary puts it in a piece of mailer and sends it off.
It's
You
crazy.
close on a house.
So, hope it didn't scare you too much, but we gave you some answers. And we gave this because this was important. This is
very important.
Has been happening. Well, it's been happening for a while now, but
it's getting worse.
It's getting worse. Every day they're finding, oh, there's a new breach. Oh, there was a breach here. Oh my God, they were in there. When you get down to the point where you're getting into the nuclear subs, that's a problem. So
That should never have happened.
So, Merry Christmas. And we'll be back next. We'll be back the week after Christmas. We're not going to go anywhere. So if you've got any questions and if you got a little scared, call us or email us, techshamans@webeamtv.com. I'll send them over to Adam because Adam's the guy that answer all your stuff, not me. I just understand it. But anyway, thank you for watching this morning. We appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week. Again, have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have a good tech week.
Shamans, we understand cause we are the Tech Shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff, boy, so yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.